Okay, I entered the order in Irving, Texas, which is between, I don't know if you know where it is, between Fort Worth and Dallas. And our sisters had the novitiate there. And the day after I entered, they had decided to join the novitiate, which is the formation 2 or 3 years for young women who enter. We have a province up in Buffalo, New York, the Eastern province. We're the Western. And I was the only one entering that year down here. So they asked me if I wouldn't mind going to Buffalo, New York, to join the Sisters of St. Mary novitiate there. So I would be in a bigger group. It was the first time I had left Texas without my family. I'd only left once in my whole life. We drove up to St. Louis, Missouri to my grandmother's funeral. I just never knew my grandparents except when she died. So, yeah, so I'd never been out of the state. And so got on the bus, the Greyhound bus, 7 o'clock in the morning, the day after I entered. And I think we were 4 other novices who were going to Buffalo. And we rode the Greyhound bus day and night for about 35 hours. And we got to Buffalo, New York. And I think when I look back, sometimes I see how God was preparing me to perhaps, leave my homeland and serve for a time. That was kind of the first thing, I think, was when I was asked to leave Texas to go for my formation. And when I was in the novitiate up there, we went out once a week and to some housing projects. At that time, they were predominantly African American in the neighborhood where our sisters were. And we would go to this housing project, which, you know what a housing project is like. And we would go visit families, and something just kept stirring within me, that I just knew that that's how I wanted to dedicate my life. So then after the novitiate, I stayed up there for 2.5 years. And then I came back to Texas for a year. Uh, I was getting ready to make my first commitment, if you want to say, for a year. But I had to come back and live in Texas for a year, first of all, to see if that's really, it was part of the discernment, because I loved my life up in Buffalo. And so now I was going to come here and see about living and ministering with the sisters here. Well, during that year, there was an opportunity for me to go to Africa to be with an international group of young sisters who lived together a time of formation. So I stayed like the academic year in Wichita Falls, which is a small town north of here, where our sisters had a grade school. And I worked in the grade school. It was also children of low income families. So it was still, along the line of what I was very attracted to. And after that year, I was given the opportunity to go for 1 year to Congo to be in this international community where there was a mission. So there were other sisters who were teaching in the school, teaching in the mission, and we had a health clinic, a hospital that the sisters worked in, and then some of us were in formation. And there I was with them, sisters from Canada, from Belgium, from Congo, from Rwanda, uh, Buffalo, New York, and here we were just all mixed. And that gave me a sense of being called, I think, to be part of the greater universality of what the church is about. And so at the end of the first year, I was supposed to come back to Texas. Well, you see, when I went, I had studied French a year in high school and a year in college, but you don't learn to speak French. But our common language in our missions was French, because we had sisters from Canada, Belgium, the Congo, The official language was French as well as Rwanda. So any of us came from the US, we had to learn French. So the first year, I really couldn't talk very much because I didn't. So by the end of the year, I was getting better, and so I asked to stay one more year to maybe have a more missionary experience, because then I could really help out, in the school, work with the high school girls, and so I asked to stay for a year. And then at the end of each year, I just kept asking to stay in our missions, and then I became part of our what we called the missionary province, which has sisters in Congo, Rwanda, now Tanzania, Cameroon, and now in Brazil. So that's how my life, gosh, from the time, I guess it's like from 1971 till early 2000, my life was mostly out of the country.